which is like really interesting to me. Like, I don't know if that's like a coincidence or anything of that nature. But yeah, going back to your question, Tash, what do I think about these lineups? Z11, I think it's a lot safer, although they do have the ability to be a bit more explosive, considering Boss Babe is on that Clove. And I think Clove, even since day one, has been a demon on these brawling teams.
How aggressive they're going here, pushing up forward, but from mid here, 3 pickouts just like that, and First Love quickly takes the life of Boss Babe before quickly just rushing onto the site here. Indois fully open up, and now we're seeing that retake style play from the rest of Himothy's.
I like the patience again. They understand the assignment that they did lose early map control by giving up Boss Babe here, and they're not gonna have any of his smokes available within a useful radius either. Now Himothy's, they know that they do have bodies here and a lot of utility, but K1 is gonna make sure that they're gonna have one up.
I'm quite surprised at this outcome of this round though. Like, Himothy's just completely pushed through that smoke. They didn't even check the corner and just walked straight into that crosshair. Almost feels like Himothy's felt a bit overwhelmed there just now during that retake moment, because I thought that, okay, they had that first pick off, they can just sort of like take their time with that retake, but it felt very rushed.
It did. I mean, the execution was just not there, but maybe they need time to warm up, Tash. After all, you did say they don't necessarily have an anchored IGL role, so they might still be conversing among themselves to really solidify how they want to play this. And it does look like Z11 have a bit more dynamic approach to this attack. They now change where that Clove is going to be positioned. And it does look like they're trying to scale up towards C, maybe isolate the Sentinel that has exposed himself.
Yeah. And K1 is just really taking his time here, walking up, getting that, access to the orb and taking it away. And this is massive because he's only 3 off the Nightfall.
That early too. I mean, again, we know that we have a lot of crazy fraggers on that initiator role. Obviously, Z11 is going to have a breadth of firepower alongside Himothy's. They're guessing a lot.
Oh no! Not too sure how he's just able to walk up and just catch First Love off guard here. But that was a very nasty angle to play with, and he took full advantage of that. And now here comes the push, Z11, the stuns to the stairs, and the rest of Himothy's, wow, they are definitely not him at this point, because with the lack of guns, maybe Miz can try and attempt something. A backstab would be huge, but you do have Fontes just waiting in the backline to see if anyone is going for that flank. But in this 4 versus 5 moment with lack of guns, I think they're just trying to stop this situation where they turn into ultimate orbs. Miz running for his life. The door has been opened. The rest of Himothy's, perhaps the call is just to go down the spike.
I think that's smart. They don't want to, again, give away free ult charge. And I did see a few mishaps there on a mechanical level, but hey, they have an idea where one of the players could be, but that's a Neon. It's so hard to catch, but the bullets, they find their mark. Fontes will eventually get one more pick to his name. And Himothy's, like you mentioned, off to a slow start. I'll give them a little bit of leeway, though. This is a very attacker-sided map, so we shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, not surprised at all. They do go down the spike as expected, and now here comes the interesting part, because when you see in terms of, of weaponry, there's 3 rifles, 4 now, in the hands of Z11. They have a Bulldog in play as well, despite the 3, half shields. So in a way, Z11 has every capability or every chance to kind of snowball and win this bonus.
That's true. I mean, round 4 could potentially be a round that they're looking forward to with a decently intact armory here. Obviously, Himothy's want to do something about it. They do have a much more aggressive stance towards A here as Miz tries to avoid the flash, but the rest of him and his team get blinded.
That's aggressive as heck. Miz and the rest of Himothy's forced back here, pivoting straight into that B side. And Z11, this is the firepower we talked about from Thai teams, how aggressive they are, how they want to fight for that control of the site. You realize that they were a little bit more on the passive side earlier. They're changing up the tempo, and now it's silence. Z11 already on the A side here. One smoke separating them and the rest of the team. Miz forced back because of that metal. And now he tries once again. His teammates trying to find that one sliver,
your
that one
fear!
break in that defense. And here comes the Nightfall, and no, just quickly pushing up. Miz is going to fall as Banaf from the backside does find something with the Trailblazer, but the smokes is not making it easy at all for him to get in. All this util is not making it any easier for them to break onto the site. 2 for 2, 3 even. First Love, last number standing all alone. A good spray, and now here comes the pain shells as well, and Fontus from the backside. First Love not aware, moves timing on his side. But where are you looking here? He pushed back, he taps once again, and First Love manages to save the round right in the nick of time with a 3K clutch.
So patient on both players, and I feel like that was a true toss-up on if that was a commit to the stick or if he was going to swing out after. But again, there had to be a judgment call to be made. And early on, you see how Z11, like you mentioned, is so aggressive with their utility that you can't help but feel how the Himothy's are somewhat getting, I'd say, smothered already, despite how early it is. And I would say that was still a relatively successful bonus round, because if anything, that was 4 rifles down for what, the price of, I don't know, 1 upgrade. Himothy's, if they do drop this round, they could be sent to Struggle Town. Now Z11 changing the tempo again from a very brisk sprint towards A main. They slow it down with the smoke and look to have maybe a bit more presence towards that door area.
Z11 just walking up A site like they own the site. They've already heard the tap of that alt orb, so just waiting for the right timing to pop that pop the guiding light. And I wouldn't be surprised if, say, Miz would just open the door and just jump out. I think Z11 suspects that happening, decides to just slow down the tempo, take their time.
That's a fair judgment here. And Himothy's, they hold strong, they hold patient, they have a few players in some key areas here, and if Z11 choose to go full contact, this could be a bad idea.
Huge. Thanks for one more. Nice crossfire from the Banaf as well. That is the crossfire we wanted to see. Banaf has done so much damage before finally silenced by Hardora. But Hardora,
30
with up
seconds
to only
left.
4 HP. First Love checking that smoke, find no one. And Hardora forced to wait for his teammate to come a bit closer, since Bass Babe is the one with relatively more life. First Love crosses. Will they check him? That's the question. Oh no, he doesn't. Bass Babe was perfectly ready for that play. Smokes have been set.
10 seconds left.
And now here comes the rotation. Miz, he could deny this plan, and he wants to. Knocks it down. Timing not on his side. Kestrel finds one. Bass Babe is sharp as ever. Kestrel, he's gonna go to hunt here. Chasing for his life, and somehow Bass Babe wins that. What's that movement?
He got his ankles snatched. I was just about to compliment how Himothy is doing such a great job of keeping themselves afloat and avoiding a potential downward spiral to another eco round. But here we are, Z11 winning it out with sheer tenacity on those ones. And Himothy's doing pretty well on some of these positional things, but Z11's doing such a great job of sectioning these fights. And you saw earlier how that shotgun, that Bucky shot, could have denied the plan, but alas, the smoke did fade. Maybe waited a little too long and maybe guessed wrong on which side he was going to plant. But again, Z11, they go for yet another slower approach. It seems that they have conditioned Himothy to maybe put a bit more pressure towards A, because look how quickly they vacated towards C. Thankfully, the Killjoy was around to give them a little bit of a warning. But they're still not buying it, Tash. They're still leaning towards that defense on A.
Because this might be really good condition. Now Z11, this is what I really like about them. Because they really take their time to just kind of get that info, as you mentioned before, Raf. The intel they have from that util, walking up, getting that first few shots, and hearing nothing gives them, it's just a process of elimination for the team. And now, Z11, all eyes on C and Himothy's. I think they suspect that pings all around here. They do have Miz and Kestrel that's already sort of rotated over. But the sheer number of firepowers and util is going to be a problem, as well as the lack of weapons too. Endoist Checking the entirety of
Ooh.
side, finds nothing. They're gonna go for this
30
plant here as
seconds
Miz is gonna go for the pickoff. Nice wall bang into
down.
Fontas, take him down, and 3-1 as well. Move to the side here. Miz, he's trying to buy and distract as much time as possible, but caught out in the open. But the same could be said about Kestrel. Then unfortunately for First Love,
enemy
his
remaining.
util, his showstopper is finding no one, leaving Hardora and Edward in a 1v1. Hardora, beautifully done with that shotgun. And now Edward,
Spike planted.
the final man that's registered into the team, finds himself with a classic in hand, trying to find himself jumping into the smokes.
Uh-oh.
But shotgun in hand, Hardora is going to fall as Edward managing to snag a rifle right in the nick of time.
Thrifty.
What an eco from him. And Z11, maybe a little flabbergasted on how those rounds slipped away from him, how those frags just managed to eke away from their crosshairs. At the same time, we have to give credit to Miz for being such a stalwart on that seaside. And again, the thing is, you could be perfect strategically, but sometimes you gotta remember this is still an FPS game. Once you get your head clicked, it's over. Z11, not looking too great on the buys, considering they did win majority of the rounds, but I like the conservative choice here, just to get that economy stabilized for the future here. Meanwhile, Himothy,
Blinded.
a little shoddy on some of these guns. They do have an outlaw. I think it's great. Maybe it's actually such a big brain move, considering Z11 have some players, if not majority of their players, on half armor.
Yeah. Oof. Nice little tag there onto Benef. Z11. Weapons, rifles or not, they are just undeterred at all. They're still pressing the pedal to the metal, and Benaf is just getting him right as he goes up onto the top of heaven. So low already. And now here comes Fontas playing a nice little crossfire with his teammates. Everyone on site. Edward picking off Hardora so quickly. That's their smoker out. As the other members of Himothy's just trying to get some info here, is going to be the Trailblazer to walk up first. First Love will move in tandem with that util, with that stun, with a shorty in hand. That is disgusting. As Bass Babe, he's sharp, gets the headshot, but the firepower, the sheer firepower from Himothy's that we expected to see just flourishes.
Just a deadly flower that Z11 have to avoid. And Himothy's, I think I really appreciate their approach towards their defense, because if you haven't noticed yet, the rhythm of how they want to fight is when there is a confirmed plant, just so they can either snag a freebie or make it a 5v4, even if it is for a moment. And I think that's one of the reasons why that eco round was just so convincing from them. Now, Z11, if they haven't caught on to that just yet, they might need to get more early pickoffs to avoid that type of situation.
How aggressive Miz walks up, takes the util to the face, and somehow still gets away with the pickoff. Oh man.
Okay, knifing the Prowler, even though it's kind of getting common these days, it's still such an aura thing, you know? You know, you
Yeah, I
got
agree with
chased
you.
out.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I don't mind. I'm a knife it anyway. But another shot lands. It doesn't
Oh my
finish
God,
the
Miz.
kill. But Pass Babe is double dipping.
Oh man, he really thought he could challenge that. And the thing is, I think he really suspected that Miz should be somewhere still on C-side. This reposition, it's so dynamic. Just making Z11 question every single position of where that op presence could be. Pings already, you can see they're suspecting that Hardora is somewhere here. They have a cross with Edward, all the way from backside. Miz to see if anyone were to cross. Sees no one yet here. Oh, spots out one corner of that gun barrel. And Edward, despite that smoke, he's gonna try and challenge. Gets a bit of chip damage, moves back. Has no clue how close Hardora is, and somehow he still manages to dwindle down the numbers. Funsons as well is gonna find Kestrel, and a quick TP from him brings him straight onto the A site where everyone has positioned themselves for that post plant. But here comes the tremors, as well as the aftershock is not helping or giving any space to Himothy's to play at all. As First Love is smoked off that site, he's still gonna try at least to push into it. The op from this time from Miz is not gonna find dividends. Swaps guns. He's gonna try and go a little bit more aggressive. First Love onto Hardora, and now the tap comes forward. There's still two members to worry about. Miz sharp as ever. And now for Kelsey, with 91 HP, as well as that Haunt, he's trying to put in the damage. They do get that seize, but it doesn't matter when there's 2 gun barrels staring at you.
What a great play by Miz, all round long. I think this is something that has to be brought up too. If the Neon, or rather the defender side of the map, isn't properly sectioned and cleared out, then you are gonna have that forever rotating up that is just so hard to catch up to. And Miz getting those 2 kills essentially won the round for his team. And not just that, the pressure, swapping out to the rifle, doubling up with his teammate at such a great time, just made this a little bit more difficult for Z11 to deal with. We do have a number of ults on both sides here, but I think Fontes has an idea of what to do with that Rolling Thunder. But look at Miz again, with a head full of confidence.
No.
Maybe a scoreboard full of frags.
But the rest of Z11 was actually running straight on towards C. And now the rest of Himothy's running from their life away from Bass Bay. But Miz says, okay, you know what? Here, eat another bullet. I'm done with you. Straight to a seaside. 1 player is detained from Z11, so not too worried about that. Rolling Thunder is around. Coming up forward as well, we have the flash, we have the util dump, we have the overdrive. As Endo walks up, silences his overdrive, brings out his own, takes out Banaf, and the rest of Himothy's are falling like bowling pins, and they cannot do anything about it.
Oh my goodness. Z11 responds with a pop off of their own and in kind as Himothy. They are still very adamant on running that operator, and it's been great for them. I'm glad that these rounds have been super competitive too, Tosh, because again, sometimes when you watch Lotus, it can be a one-sided affair up until the team makes a gigantic adjustments, but it has been micro-adjust after micro-adjust. Z11 looks to run a similar action from the pistol round with their Clove trying to crawl up towards B. Maybe there's going to be a bit more resistance here as Himothy have had that in their databanks for quite a bit.
Oh man, Miz stuck. Gets away thanks to that smoke. I'm so sure he was actually going to fall there since Endo looked very aggressive. But A-Rumble completely in Z11's control.
I think this is a great move. You know, if they kept playing slow, then that operator was going to get more and more dangerous. You know how it has been.
Will they miss each other?
I don't think so.
Way. Do they suspect each other? Oh, Bass Babe! No! Quick into the site as well. Here's Z11. He's walking up, trying to see if anyone's there. Unfortunately, his positioning has been compromised. Both running for their lives. A stun to come up forward, and Miz somehow gets a pickoff before being traded off. Edward somehow wins it for 2, and the rest of First Love just completely crunch out to the remaining members of Z11.
They have a good idea.
Incredible.
It really was. They have a good idea on how to deal with that op and try to box it in, but now they have the rest of him to deal with, and everybody's just been contributing in spades, and Edward really had a round for himself there. I thought for sure he was going to fall to the trade. They with some sharp shooting, that battle did really ring through the offense of Z11, and I think this is going to be the first time I've seen a regen shield for at least this map. I don't actually think it's that popular. I could be mistaken though, but I don't see it a lot. I feel like the value of it is a little questionable at times, because sure, you can take a bit more chip. Maybe it's really good in some of these comps that have a bit more sustain. But you know how Valorant can be. One straight bullet to the face and it's just kind of over.
Yeah. I feel like, you know, in the beginning, I mean, just now, your words were, it felt like Himothy's were just so overwhelmed, right? They were just so run down by the intense firepower coming in from Z11. But then also, from the flip side, you saw that micro adjustments coming in from Himothy's. I think my biggest concern about Himothy's was the fact that they didn't have, you know, a proper IGL, someone calling the shots. But it felt like every single member had an idea or knew how exactly they wanted to approach each round and what their roles are. They're so dynamic with their positioning. It made it so hard for Z11 to really pinpoint where exactly each and every one of Himothy's are.
And with this fog of war, Z11 might just need some sort of safety net here, because that's what the sky does bring. You know, there is a sound queue. You can't really tell how many players are still there. But hey, it's still important info nonetheless, especially with how they paired with the op. If they can't get an early ping with a guiding light, they just kind of rotate the op somewhere else.
Yeah.
Z11 with these lesser weapons, I'm curious what they can do with it, considering look at how many players they have invested towards A.
Yeah, but the thing is, even with these sheriffs, right, I think this year and last year was a testament that we start to see players just really shine regardless of what weapons they have in hand. We've had those hit dinks with the classic. We've had insane shots with that sheriff. Now, we already have Endo ticking up an orb to himself, which means that he's just one more step closer to that overdrive that was devastating that we saw 2 rounds ago.
Indeed he is. And if we talk about value, that's the type of thing he wants to replicate. Z11, they've managed to slip towards B. There's nowhere, there's no one to pitch them. But look at that, Kestrel will just fall back.
Oh my god, Endo! Somehow through that stun, Kestrel was able to get that pick up onto Endo. In fact, onto Funtus as well. First Love coming in here from Broken Door, wants to push through, Satchel's up, somehow winning with that insane movement. The op shots ring loudly and everyone just trying to overwhelm the final member. Shorty in hand even, come on. Poor guy.
If Z11 can win the next round, I predict a 6-6 at the half. It's very possible, but once again, Miz has readjusted his op play, and it's proving to be a problem for Z11 yet again. I really like it. You know, he can reposition so fast and get a pick on one side, be on the next one. I just think Jet can't do that. Sure, Jet might have a little bit of safety on a whiff,
yeah,
but so far, Miz has been hitting a shot.
Yeah, I think that's like the wonderful thing about looking at Miz. I mean, his debut back then in MYSG was one of the most fearsome Jets that we've seen so far. Seeing him gonna transition into another agent and just going all in this crazily is just so exciting to see. And here we go again, Miz op in hand, staying clear off that haunt, wants to go a little bit more aggressive, gets a quick pick to Kilsey, and moves back, wants to go again. Unfortunately for him, his crosshair not gonna be hitting, he's running for his life. Endo with util in hand, 18 HP left, he's all around the area, taking up so much damage, but somehow surviving that skirmish.
The difference is we have the NAF on the other side to peel up any potential damaged players, but nothing of that nature in Z11, and it is a miracle and a half for Endo is to survive all of that. We are gonna see some scouting here being done by Himothy's, and they're being very safe about this, Tosh. They're not necessarily going for the most dynamic take.
Oh, that's beautiful. That splash was just perfect. Sets up Z11 for the perfect push, but Miz, he wants to take the fate into his own hands. He moves out of the way, shoots that, jumps up forward into 2 people's crosshairs, and Banaf, unfortunately, timing not synced there. And you are right, we might potentially be seeing a 6-6, a 5-6 already. And honestly, I was not expecting it to be this competitive.
That might be a good point here. I thought it'd be a bit more one-sided, like we mentioned earlier. But hey, both these teams are just playing with a lot of good adjustments. You know, to put it more simply, they've just been really smart about how they want to approach the map, how they want to divide the sites that they want to conquer and fight on. But right now, it does look like Z11 have a very forward approach, Tash. They sent 5 bodies towards A, and with Neon speed, it is going to afford them a lot of good map patrol.
Oh man, but now that weapon pullout was just a bit too slow with the util in hand. As Edward playing this guy's off angle, finds 1, goes for 2, but he cannot do more than that. The Nightfall has been utilized, and Hardora playing from inside of the smokes. Being very careful here. First Love decides to just really play it back a little bit more. Decides to play with his teammates, wait off the util. But the one-way smokes is not making it any easier for them to push. Miz, up in hand, a retake. Man, it's not going to be easy. Checks one side of the door, finds no one. But the rest of the team has tucked themselves all the way to the other side. Already been spotted out by Kestrel. First Love will be found because of the amount of noise he's been making inside of that smoke. As Kilsey, util will be found, broken itself. 2 people left, wants to swing. Tiny little peek, and somehow they win that?
Oh, I thought for sure that... It was. I thought for sure that this was going to be a Z11 round. They had such a good lid on the situation, but everything just managed to overturn on that very last second. And Timothy manages to eke away and steal around with a beautiful collateral by Miz. We are on pace for yet another
Oh
fast
my
round,
god.
Tash.
Yeah, QC just managed to grab him by the scruff of his neck as he's running straight into the site. That fast lane be damned. First Love trying to make sure that no one's at door, finds nothing. Now here comes the wait once again. As soon as that smoke dissipates, I believe they're just going to try and explode onto the site. That's the beautiful thing about watching Himothy's play. That firepower, that explosiveness.
Yeah, and maybe, like, again, it's just the confidence in, you know, the amount of times that they have played this game at a really high level. They know what timings to take and when to speed up when they have to. And I feel like a lot of teams are already on a good page with that. But the fact that the rest of Himothy can still pull back, play patient, and just play methodical Valor is a skill that does escape even some top-level pros. And now in a 4v5, this is not looking too good. 30 seconds are left on the clock, and a lot of bullets still flying their way.
30 yeah, a lot of util as well, dumped all around, just buying so much time. Bass Babe somehow managing to isolate fights with Funtas, one each. Numbers dwindling down from the side of Himothy's, leaving Kestrel all to his lonesome. A beautiful headshot onto Bass Babe and Funtas. Still one more person to worry about. Unfortunately for him, the shots aren't going to connect, and they lose pistol.
Is this a repeat, I believe, of the previous half? Yes, it is. At the same time, again, maybe they just need a bit of extra set of data to figure out how this defense is going to set, how they want to play their lurks. At the same time, Himothy, they did lose out on Miz very early. A scoped weapon in his hand yet again, but there have been some reservations about it, as it does go back and forth in his inventory. Z11, though, has a lot of armor, so I doubt that this is gonna frag anything. And, you know, our doubts have been validated by that frag towards Miz.
You really gotta give it to Z11. They love that A rubble control. There's so many times that on attack, they are so proactive at taking it. And now on defense as well, they fight for it. Kilwisi gonna move backwards there, not really looking to take this fight too early, but Endo is not stopping that pressure onto that A main site.
I want to say that the clove value has been a bit more apparent in the brawling, but not necessarily like the smokes and whatnot. I mean, sure, it has been handy a few rounds, but Bassbabe has been finding some really smart rules for himself. As soon as I say that, he gets destroyed on jump spot. Come on.
It's always really exciting to see how that happens. Fontas' reposition has caught the entirety of Himothy's off guard here. Moving all the way down to Ben. He still managed to find Edward. And this team somehow has managed to isolate every single member of Himothy's from being able to play off each other.
Maybe I jinxed him. Maybe
I
not.
Really
Maybe that's the first jinx of the year.
This is the second time you've done it. First you said it's a 6-6, and then it wasn't.
Well, to be fair, there were a lot of variables that were accounted for. A collateral was just not.
Rafcasts.
No, the thing is, it's like, how often would you see a close range collateral like that, and how hard is it to retake with the operator? It's quite difficult, right? But again, if it's Miz, hey, he can make it happen. Now, Z11, they do have the superior firepower here, but they have to, well, actually not really. They have to still be aware of Miz running amok with the judge in his hand, and if they play this range poorly, then they could suffer the consequences of it.
One-way setup already. Here. 3 members from Z11 kind of hovering around that door area as well as B, so quick rotations to see if anyone's coming close, can open the door to see if anyone's pushing out. It's gonna be massive. They've heard already the tap of that alt orb, and they decide to rush forward here. The other members of Himothy skedaddling for their lives. Unfortunately for Kestrel, he'll be caught just kind of hanging around that B side area. Miz, happy to be able to pick up that rifle. Nice little upgrade. Checks the corner, but finds no one.
A lot of silence going on here, especially after that first fight on Kestrel. Z11 still trying to figure out, or not really Z11, Himothy's still trying to figure out if there are any gaps that they can abuse. It does look like it's going to be a slow crawl, but with that 30-second timer, they could be running into a big paranoia play here, Tosh.
Oh no, that's perfect actually. Hardora has set up the paranoia perfectly for himself. This corner is an isolated angle
Jeez.
to perfection. First Love cannot hold on. And that is bonus converted.
Rated very well. Z11 looking to take the lead once more as Himothy can't really find that eco success that was present in the first half. Now they are suffering with these sheriffs. They do have some armor on First Love. I'm not sure what the idea is here. But hey, maybe they're going to drop him a sheriff or he'll pick one up from a fallen teammate. Himothy.
Mobilize my pack.
How aggressive Z11 is already. Somehow, Himothy's have not been able to overwhelm this early aggression from A Rubble for quite some time now.
That is true. It does look like they're a bit more hesitant to send a player to walk down B just to find a timing on potentially a player that might be lurking there a little too long. But like you mentioned, Tash, they are going to wrestle this control away as Endo's going to find one and he's going to back out, waiting for the rest of his team to support.
Somehow, First Love and Edward managing to find one each. Pain shells, a sheriff shot. Endo is still waiting for the right time.
What?
And Edward getting caught in that as he just rushes forward. The Naf all alone. Completely overwhelmed.
Gotta go.
And right now, Z11 just snowballing off those 4 rounds chained.
I think he fell asleep or he checked his minimap or something, but that was like a whole 2 seconds of his crosshair just kind of hovering over nothing here. A lot of minor mistakes, somewhat adding up on the side of Himothy. Again, composure has to be the call here, Tosh. They are only down 2 rounds, and this is still very doable for them. However, this does look like a gigantic snowball on the side of Z11.
And they're looking to fight down the mound area here. The flash be damned. A good crossfire with his teammates shuts down the showstopper. Edward finally knocks him down to the ground, but they're still 2 for 2 despite that early aggression. Funtus holding, he sprays, is looked good. And now the flash. No movement quite yet here, and somehow Edward manages to spray the heck out of him. And the rest of Z11 forced to concede the site. And Kestrel putting down this util. His teammate is close. Thinking about getting that plant, but they suspect that someone might be going for the lurk. Perhaps it's an overthink, I'm not sure now.
Well, they have a minute to work the map, but the plant will go down. He avoids the spam, but and that should have been a layup. But again, the flub on the side of Fontas there, just an accidental jump, maybe a touch on the scroll wheel. But here we have Himothy's maybe, just maybe, just a few seconds away from taking their first round on this half.
Haunt finds one, didn't find the other. Just going for that spam. Kestrel found with util in hand here, jumps down. Edward to win one more. A fake TP. Just to really catch them off guard. He comes down here timing, but Edward somehow manages to flick. And Kelsey could not get him in time. Edward, the final man, the final puzzle piece for Himothy's, and that's the reason why he's there.
That corner is cursed. I don't know how to like this one. That's the second one, right? The first one was from Fontas, I think, whiffing or maybe just misinputting the jump. And then Kelsey should have had an easy frag towards Edward, but hey, things happen, and now it's a little bit more competitive on the side of Himothy's. They've finally found their footing on this half. They have the operator yet again on the side of Miz, who's had a bit of a cold streak trying to entry for his team in the last 5 rounds or so. But with this round playing out, it does look like this operator might just have more chances at finding a target. As look at this, Z11, so aggressive, but they changed their mind about it, Tash. A lot of safety being exercised by both of these teams now.
Yeah. This is a very different approach. I'm not used to seeing Z11 play like this after, I don't know, the last 17 rounds in a row where Z11, all they wanted to do was, you know, wrestle for mount control, wrestle for a rubble control. And Himothy's, they're probably wondering, we're just walking up here with no resistance in sight. Where could the rest of Z11 be?
That is a guessing game that Himothy don't want to play. And those jiggle peeking for his life, but so far nothing has been found. I don't think that's gonna give a sound cue away, but full contact and full confidence on the side of Himothy again. They do take a free sight, but this is a full team that they have to deal with, and I have to admit these angles are not ideal for a retake, especially with the way they're positioned.
Great crossfires. You have Kestrel watching down A-Link. Fast Babe looking to come in from door. Vanaf somehow finds Hardora there with that op in hand, but will be trading out there with First Love. Kestrel holding down the fort here for the other side. Now jump up forward. Fast Babe somehow managing to keep himself alive. Vanaf, final man standing. His last game tonight. But this time around, can't do more than that. The only thing he can do is just pick up that op and just bring it to the next round.
Like I said, that the angles that were being picked just made it a bit more awkward to defend from the retake here. And Z11, they try their best to put a doorstop on a potential momentum swing for Himothy, and they've done it so gracefully. This time around, though, they're still sticking with that op that they did retrieve. Doesn't look like anybody's really forcing out a rifle to just give him a little bit of backup. But Miz, a stray pick. One click could change the tide of this battle. But so far we haven't seen it, Tosh. Like I said, maybe it's a bit of a cold streak for our duelist here.
Yeah, he was so hot in that first half, and this time around it's a little bit more quiet. It's Edward that's, I would say, the star of the second half. But don't count them out quite yet. 2-round deficit.
Sometimes it only looks like a pair of rounds ahead of you. But the way that Z11 have been countering some of these offensives just make it look like it's so hard to equalize. Especially with the fact that Himothy just don't have the resources to do it with Miz. Saw a shoulder. Now he's smoked off. Unfortunately for him, Hardora could actually just spray him down here. Again, the sheriffs are dangerous, but you know how lethal the Vandal can get.
Especially with the right sprays. The Ring of the Haunt there. Didn't manage to catch anyone. Skillsy? He positions himself up to heaven.
30 seconds left.
Be huge here, his teammate here. The Prowler does find one person. Miz has not moved quite yet. Knows exactly where Killsy is. Unfortunately for him, the paranoia snags him. But Miz just decides to change to another target. But the battle of the overdrive shows that Endo is just a little bit better here. He's not done quite yet. But First Love and Banaf, the shots are just so good here. Rolling Thunder will be used. First Love cannot handle it. And here comes the Seekers as well. Fontes on the other end. Util dumps all around. One area of the corner will be finding somehow 2 kills with that aftershock in hand, and Himothy's cannot hold on.
Beautiful plant denial here on the side of Z11, and I feel like the utility shuffle is going quite well for both these teams, but there's so many stuns and so many status effects that are getting thrown the way of Himothy that they just can't find a clean fight here. First it was the relay bolt, then it was the breach utility in general. Now imagine if you put a Tejo on any of these teams. Oh my goodness.
Whew. Wondering what's next on the plate here for Himothy's. Their way of playing very, very, dynamic, playing very, very, I would say, just kind of like out of their own, volition is not working out. I mean, despite them not having an IGL, they seem to have really good chemistry, if you ask me. They have great double swings, great set plays somehow. And out of this 6 players here, looking on the screen here with Kale, they're just kind of like swapping around their roster. Even the coach can sometimes play.
I think that's great. That type of modularity is, I think, really rare. And to have that type of firepower and willingness from the coach is also a great bonus. At the same time, maybe this is the one of those situations where if you're on Z11, or rather on Himothy, you kind of want to lean on one caller. You kind of want to just kind of commit to one strategy so you find your way back into the game. Because this second half, this attacking half, has just been almost non-existent for them. Sure, there have been close rounds, but Z11 have had a hit on them.
Oh man, they have the high-low Endo set up a 2-for-1. I think that is a deal that they would love to take. Now, Kelsey goes down here in the midst of that rotation, but Himothy's, despite that kerfuffle over on A, they're like, okay, we've done the damage, but it's time for us to leave, and we're rotating straight onto C. But Fontes is already there and waiting for them. We saw just now how he's able to play with this util to get 2 kills, but unfortunately for him, he's flashed out here. Edward's ready. He looks the wrong way at the wrong time. First Love and the rest of his teammates were ready for him though for that quick trade, and now it's just Kelsey all alone. That flash.
I thought that was dead on.
That was true. But here comes the Prowler, there comes the Haunt. Everything will be broken. Has an idea where everyone is. They're playing together. A good little crossfire set up here. Kelsey trying to get a nice little off angle if he can, but 2 eyes straight onto him. First Love solo. Banaf trying to keep his teammate a little bit more safe here. Isolating the angles might be a little hard. He'll try to get one first. He does. Oh man, First Love solo. It's just a sniff, a sneeze could take him down. And now he rushes forward.
You have got to be kidding
left,
me.
right, and center, but
If he
time
spams.
not on his side here.
No.
All he has to do is just do the smokes. Just not even the smokes. He just has to spam the boxes. But the overthinking is too much, and First Love has done his job to just delay this round.
This might be a personal opinion,
Okay.
and you know some of these judgment calls have to be made in the middle of the game.
Remaining.
But that first swing by First Love could have cost them the round, because the reason why Banaf had to swing forward was to try and cover and maybe salvage the situation for his low teammate. If they just stuck on that angle where it could have been a potential trade angle, then maybe things would have been fine. But hey, the round worked out for them. Really smart play at the final few seconds by First Love here, and Boss Babe again has been a terror on the C side of the map.
And he just swings and everyone falls.
Remaining.
Util dump all around. Z11 continuing their terror. So oppressive. Kestrel good for one, but a double, triple swing from the rest of Z11 proves too much for Himothy's to handle. And I am loving
Match
how
point.
aggressive Z11 can be. And when they are, it's so oppressive.
I'm out of here.
I was about to say that Z11 might just have a very impressive split, that Himothy, it's almost imperative for them to win this opener just so they have a fighting chance for the next map. At the same time, it might be too early in the night to call who might win the series.
Go, go, go.
Himothy's odds are not looking too good here, Tosh. They only have a Phantom and a few pistols, upgraded pistols in their hand. But if they can land some crazy, crazy shots, then Z11 might have to reconsider the landscape of Lotus.
Flashed and missed. He's taking up a lot of space, catching Endo off guard. But the beautiful thing about having Bass Babe in your team is that he can instantly trade you out. Kelsey in the backside here, and Bass Babe, he's all the way out there in the open. First Love gets him, but because he knows he's not dead yet, he goes aggressive. Bass Babe finally silenced. And now Z11, they can rest happy knowing that they're firepower, 2 players in one go if you want to.
Plus, you have the Astra to just bolster your utility a bit more and, you know, lean into that passive play if you ever need to. You can condition people to just avoid the stars in general, especially with the gravity well. Another thing to take into account, and going back to the players that have been quite interesting, to me personally, Hardora has been so reliable. He's always been either getting 1 or 2 and just backing off, not trying to overdo his job. And the way that they have been controlling space because of this reliability has been such a big problem for him.
Man, I'm loving the fact that we get to cast and say him, you know, like the meme, but you know, pause that thought about these memes, because look at how much util dumps around. Flashes are done. You have the shields up, the double tap up already. But Ando is doing what Ando does best. Wants to take up more space, play a little bit more close, up close and personal. But meanwhile, for Himothy's, they have a Sentinel compared to what we see from Z11. But Z11, they're knowing the fact that you don't really need a Sentinel when everyone is this explosive. Miss here from Sewers in trouble, 22 HP, and Funtas, a right click to the head means death from above. Now, the rest of Z11, all they have to do is just go a little bit more aggressive. First Love left all on his own. The firepower is too much to deal with. As Endo says, jump to your face, a right click to your head means the end of pistols.
So much confidence going in the way of Z11, especially with such a strong pistol round. but we have to remember him did lose the piss round early. I think their defensive side was, I'd say, a tad bit more impressive. Maybe they have adjusted yet again, or at least this is data that said Z11 could adjust from. But look at this, Tash. 2 Vandals on the side of Z11. Oh, Endo's reconsidering again. But if they did go up with that pair, then maybe, just maybe, they could brute force their way, theoretically, on any of these sites.
Yeah. Walking up here. Scoped up, smoked out. Oh, that smoke has a tiny little gap.
Ow.
And Edward takes, a fair bit of damage.
Good thing he had a little bit of armor on. I mean, that should have been a frag going in the way of Killzy.
Miss? Oh man, double swung as well from Z11. Teamwork is definitely good on this team. Fast Babe just walking up ramps like he owns the place. Killzy has a control here. Oh my god! No scopes for the Marshall. The double tap comes online here. Kestrel gonna catch Fast Babe as he walks up ramps. A little bit of an upgrade to that Ghost, but full B side in control of Z11. I'm not sure if he's able to get even close to the site to fall to the spike, but he's definitely gonna try there. Beautiful swing. Gonna get himself a Marshall in hand. Jumping up onto heaven here. Finds one, not able to land that shot, and Endo is only a Ghost in hand, and he does devastating damage to the rest of Himothy's.
Again, it's just the confidence on Z11, like helping them take these angles so convincingly. And maybe Miz has to relax a little bit. Every time he's taken, or at least the 2 times he's taken a really forward spot, he's been scouted out so well.
Foolish.
And if my math is correct, if they never nerfed ISO's shield, then I think with that walk up, he would have still had a few seconds on it. I think he'd have like maybe 2 seconds, and that could have been the difference. But either way, doesn't change the outcome of the round. Made it a little bit more painful on the economy of Z11, and suddenly Endo takes 1,000,000 damage. An immediate 4v4 here. Who is gonna win their ones? It's still Killzy.
There's a reason why he's picking that ISO, and he wants to shoot dominance on it. Kestrel at least managing to get Endo. One picked his name before Killzy says, okay, never mind, I too can get a pick off there. It's gonna be Banaf that gets knocked down yet.
Spike planted.
After that, the spike goes down, and here's Kestrel just making sure to clear out main here. Still see with the undercut, but thankfully the util will buy some time. The sprays from Kestrel gives him 2-3 even. The perfect lurk before First Love just denies the ace, and they finally get around to their name with 3 rifles to go next.
They have a neural theft to maybe pad a little bit of safety on the future rounds here. I doubt that they're gonna pop it immediately. Z11 had a bit of a mishap there towards A main. They did get picked off by Kestrel here, and beautiful map control play they've done. Talked about having no sentinel on the side of Z11, and it makes a lot of sense. This is a really active team. They're always hunting for contact. They're always trying to look for a fight, and again, it just makes so much more sense when they're running the double duelist into such aggressive support agents here in the form of Omen, who can frag out as an agent, as well as Fontas on that Sky.
Nice little default there, having 1 on A main, 1 toward mid area, and 2 just kind of walking up garage here. This has a nice little off angle, keeping away in case there is, a big weapon in hand. Sound cues out already, I believe. Now it's just silence.
Both teams are trying to take stock of what part of the maps that they've safely sectioned here. And again, look at this. There's a lot of utility to stop that A crawl, but realistically, B is in such a tender spot here. The smoke and the Trailblazer is gonna give up their intentions and perhaps provide a tell for him to rotate. But this is up to Miz. If Miz can't find a frag here, then this could fall apart, but he does, and he did.
Bit more pressure onto Heaven there. flash, but unfortunately the rest of Himothy's cannot follow up because of that pain shells. And in the corner, trying to catch one player, he gets Ender, but Bass Babe clearly just takes him out quickly as he could. Already on site here. First Love was exactly where he is. Nice cross with his teammate. One flash is all it needs. Just take him down here. Nope. No need for that flash. First Love decides, you know what? I'ma just swing.
Equalized is him. Neural Theft still very much available, as well as a Showstopper. They could combo these ults together for a pick, and maybe just if the enemy is not supporting that frag, then maybe they can get free info. At the same time, Z11, what do they have here in their armory? They only have 2 Vandals and a few Sheriffs to their name. They do, however, have that Cosmic Divide. I doubt that they're gonna pop it now, but again, crazier things have happened. Does look like there's gonna be a lot of fighting towards mid.
No way. One bullet, that's all it takes, and now he immediately cloudbursts and rushes out to safety. Actually, despite that, Funz is only left down to only 5 HP. That's a lot of damage done just by the one outlaw.
Oh dear. I think this might be the end for
Here we
Last
go.
Babe
There
here.
we go. Here comes Miz. That reposition on Lotus was the same thing we saw earlier. Endo, unfortunately for him, overthought it. Finds no one down on ropes, but Hardora taking out Edward so quickly as they completely overwhelm the rest of the site here. Onto's falls has trailed through smokes, just managing to find the right place to spam at. Cage just to give him a little bit more space to cross through, and here comes a neural theft. Invaluable information. I know exactly where Endo is. They hear the Trailblazer come through, Miz with knives in hand, and just like that, the round and the retake was perfectly executed.
That was a perfect spray. I didn't think they'd assume that they were going for a much more open plant that was exposed to backside and maybe certain angles from heaven. Thought they'd go for the closer one to the box, but no. Well read here by him, and now they have the round lead. This is the first time in 2 maps that they have. Weapons still very much likely to be held by Z11 here. If anything, they managed to save up a decent amount. Miz really redeemed himself with that round. Getting that early pick, wrestling map control away, and then finally getting more with that Blade Storm. I'm honestly surprised why Killsy didn't pop his shield to maybe just tank one of the shots. But once again, it's more of a hindsight thing. It does look like we are going to get the first tech pause of the season. I completely forgot about these things for a good minute, but here we are.
It's an APAC thing, no?
It's an everywhere thing.
It's not an APAC thing without a tech pause, coming into this season, but loving the fact that Himothy has everything in check. I think I really wanted to highlight the fact that just now that for Z11, they decided to go against having a Sentinel, right? And it's because I think for them, they rely so much on explosiveness, on firepower, overwhelming the site and just playing off of each other instead of having to worry about a lurk. But unfortunately for them, there was that one round when we saw Kestrel managing to make the most perfect lurk with his teammate just kind of pulling all the attention towards screens on A site and him getting a 3K. It was just nice. So in this situation, I think for Z11, they need to be a little bit more vigilant. But at the same time, for Himothy's, once you go into attack side, having Kestrel there is great to kind of stop that early aggression and firepower. But Z11 but it's only like one Sentinel you have, right? It's only one hold to a certain site that you have. Z11 can just easily pivot, but what's your thoughts, Raf?
I think you've expressed like most of what I was thinking too. I mean, that's really the most obvious like weakness that having no Senti provides. You just don't have that passive info on your flank and that type of safety net. But obviously Z11, they have a plan that they want to execute with this comp. They just have to avoid the pitfall of trying to go with the general play style, because this is a very, very specific comp. You know, and how they want to do it. I feel like some combos we haven't necessarily seen come out just yet. Maybe they're saving it for the defensive half. But right now, if anything, if they're not revealing too much of their hand or their plans, they're doing the same thing with dissecting this map as slow and careful as possible. And First Love doing a little bit of a wiggle there.
Cosmic Divide.
You are divided!
Here we go. Endo is gonna immediately just burst onto the site. We have the showstopper online there, straight onto first love. I think he's only just managed to break his shield. Kelsey gonna be happy with that outcome here. The satchel will be used just to buy a little bit more space, and Kelsey with that double tap online, moving in tandem with his teammates. Kestrel good for only one as Endo trades him out. And the number dwindles for the rest of Himothy's, leaving Miz to his own lonesome. With the up in hand, retake is hard, and Hardora crunches him from ramps.
So I love that kit so much that ISO has. I just absolutely adore it. You know, it is just so fun to play in Snowball with ISO. But again, there are times where you kind of need a little bit more gap closing. That's why they have Endo on that raise to maybe patch that hole in their game. And again, once Z11 gets a bit more proactive, it does really exasperate the strength of this comp. You know, with the shields, with the undercut, with again anything really coming from Bass Babe, it just becomes so hard to defend against if you're him. But Miz going on an off angle here. Hopefully he doesn't get checked. Otherwise, he might get a new haircut.
Oh man, he might not. I don't see him. Goes
Oh,
for one. His
smart.
smoke is perfect, but it's an
No.
off in hand. It's a little bit hard unless he had like maybe a Vandal or a Phantom. Everything's falling apart here.
Spike
Losing
planted.
Edward, losing Miz this early. 3-on-5 retake and dwindled down the numbers. Bit of paranoia coming down mid here, making sure to check down, and the rest of Himothy's, I think they just want to go for a save, honestly. They have no clue where to go, where to look.
Yeah, I think it's smart that they would go for a save call right here, right now. And that was the one situation where the op is worse than a classic. There's legitimately like no other situation where the op is worse. My goodness, that is unfortunate. It's not like he could have done anything there. I think he still had a dash though, so maybe a dash and a smoke and maybe some cover from his team. But again, that's just something that they'll have to VOD out and maybe find a solution for if they want to keep running that play. Z11 looking good yet again with such a clean take with little to no damage done, even towards, even to their armor.
Truly. So you already have the domain expansion from Kelsey online, and so far he's been getting his pickoffs with that. Hasn't lost quite yet. You have From the Shadows from Edward, but at the same time for Frontis, he's 2 off the Seekers and Hardora as well. So I think for Z11, it's not they could just combo some util, some ult if they want to as well.
They could. I mean, it's on the table. But once again, I feel like Timothy is having a similar problem. They just can't reliably gather information, and it's been hurting them on their retakes. It was hurting them on their offense. But they don't manage to avoid it. Killsy perfectly read towards Edward. There was a few moments in that previous map tash where Edward was such a dangerous person to fight on the site. But that's also the beauty of ISO. The fight is just not fair in the 1v1.
It really isn't. Now once after that one pickoff, Z11 decides to just fade into silence for a little while. A site. But I think Himothy's, they already have this idea that they are just gonna be there. Here we go, immediately just satcheling onto side here. Endo finds no one. Kestrel not able to react quite yet. Beautifully done there. Finds Endo on one end. Good to find 2. Isolating these fights for finally being taken down. Giving a little bit more leeway for his teammates. Miz somehow managing to stay alive there. Tries to go for a nice strafe. Just try to buy some time, but Hardora was perfectly ready for these 2 players. He didn't even have to move out of heaven.
Maybe they could have double swung that. A lot of things that they could have done a bit better here, but Z11 looking so composed and looking so sharp on split so far. And a lot of these fights just have that much more, I'd say, respect on the side of Z11. They're not necessarily over peaking without any of like the preemptive measures. They're not throwing a lot of their utility away for pointless reasons. On the other hand, him, despite Kestrel doing God's work for his team, it just hasn't been enabling the rest of the squad to heat up.
Oh my god, Bass Babe, that is
No way, right?
so bold! Good for one. Forcing Miz to go for a top up as well. No shields online. Kelsey just walking up. W keying forward with his teammate. Endo does fall. And Edward, good to find Funtus despite him being quite low in HP. Hardora, sharp as ever. Winning that duel against Kestrel as Edward just kind of waiting for the right time on Heaven to see if anyone else were in that mid rotation to catch them off guard.
Spike planted.
But the plant eventually will come. Still, it's a 2v3. No clue where the other person is. I'm gonna throw out that undercut, excuse me. Not seeing anyone quite yet. As Miz, fortunately for him, his presence will be noted. Was he waiting? Just strafes, buying time. Hardora moving down the numbers. Edward good for one, but can he hold on? Nope, not quite. Kelsey finds one. He has the shields up here, trying to move the other side, but that shorty in hand gonna completely obliterate the ranks of Himothy.
That's so smart. I was wondering when they were gonna use the shield. They were not using that to entry. They weren't using it to maybe like bully space. But I appreciate that. I appreciate that. That is actually so smart by Killzy there. And he even gives himself the nod of approval. Now I would want to say that this is the Magic 6 round for Himothy to adjust. They do have a lot of lacking firepower in terms of the weapons here. At the same time, Z11 have just been so clean. They've been really diligent with their positioning. I think that's also been a key difference, Tash. If you haven't noticed, him has just not been playing in spots where they can trade off of each other. And it's been hurting them a lot. It's either win your ones or just give up map control.
Really? Miz still playing this off angle so aggressively. I think they suspected already. Miz, oh man, he's not able to get away on time there. The trip doesn't matter. Taps coming in from Kestrel, but he's not able to get that pickup that he wanted as Hardora completely finds him. He falls. Now Bernaf inside those smokes. Bit of pressure there. Somehow Edward trying to exit Heaven will fall as well. Kelsey, this is the power that we can expect to see from a ISO. First love, he's stuck. Managing to pick up Sheriff. But against 4 people staring right at him. 1 HP left. He's eventually going to fall. They peek up and Hardora with the shorty in hand. Not much needed here. Z11, they're just running away with rounds.
That is using a bullet to swat a fly there. He was 1 HP, man. You didn't have to throw all that utility. But once again, that's just how much Z11 respects the opposition. You know, they're not really doing any silly pushes. They're not overextending despite the aggressive lineup. And again, Tash, I just really appreciate how clean they have been and how refined they are with these sets, with these executes. Now they go for a play here with the star. I think they might go for a fake retrieve here, but instead they go for a full smoke.
Oh no, a kidnapping.
Uh-oh, the white minivan strikes again. Killzy has not lost a 1v1 this entire map. That is just
There's a showstopper.
atrocious.
Oh no, finds Banaf. Off in hand there is Miz. He hasn't been caught out quite yet. Edward, the protector of the site, still managed to keep alive. And Miz, I think he took too long to find that shot with the off. They win the round there. But I really didn't think that Banaf had to fall there.
Last round
7 and 5 could be acceptable at the very least for him here. But C11, they are just running a full head of steam to this defense, just going right through him. Hardora does have the From the Shadows, and Bassbabe once again has that Cosmic Divide online. I wouldn't say Fontas hasn't had that much impact, but if he had a higher volume of assists and frags, then this could have been much more lopsided than it already is. Operator on the side of Miz took him quite a bit to get things going, but it is better late than never.
Tries to change up his position here, playing more toward Heaven side B. Endo even picks this might be
You are divided!
spell for disaster, but somehow Miz decides to be a little bit more passive. The call is toward B side there. Everyone's just pushing through that Cosmic Divide. Miz with a shorty in hand. Not gonna be happy with one there. They do get that trip out of the way, so Kestrel, a little bit less info to play with. But undoubtedly, that plant should just happen, and Babe somehow manages to walk down mid, get a pick off. Miz was too focused looking below. He pushes downstairs even. Good for one. That mid rotators is just so unlucky for him. Babe rushing up forward. Kestrel's timing is just not on his side. They rush up. Neural Theft's already activated. They have the cage online as well. Gives a bit more space for Himothy to take up space onto the site itself. But not good for 3 in the back 4. Could this be an ace that we wanted to see? Unfortunately, no. Util in hand, and Kestrel manages to pandate the situation to bring Himothy's back into the game.
That could have been such a fantastic ace, but nonetheless, him take the round away. Stop the bleeding, and even flex the new feature here. That's actually called the Flex 2. A lot of free space being taken by Babe here. I was about to say that he's been such a great closer for his team, Tosh. But that time, it's hit just like that turtle from the shop. Still Raph and Tash on the desk. Z11 try to close this series out, and him trying to survive.
Z11. This team of younguns, this team of high potential firepower players, they go aggressive, miss the fight kill. See, but look how quick these trades are happening from Himothy's. It's as though this halftime break gave them enough time to really change up the tempo. But the same could be said about Z11. Fontes just jumps down, right-clicks them in the face, catching them all off guard here. And now it's a 3-on-3 despite all those trades. The rest of Z11 coming in here from Heaven, from CT. Hardora setting up the perfect flash for his teammates, but the same will be done by Himothy's. Moving out forward, trying to anti-flash each other. First love good for one, and Edward swings out. There's still only one person to worry about. It's Fontes. They're playing off closely with each other. Timing could be crucial. Fontes declined enough, but not more than that. And pistols falls into Himothy's hands. There's much little pistols to bring them back into the game.
Those flashes by Benaf were fantastic. I cannot stress how good those were. So well timed that I was beginning to doubt if they really wanted to take a straight up firefight with Z11. Hey, they've managed to succeed, and now they're reaping the rewards. We have such a game by Kestrel. If he wasn't heating up the way he is, this could have been less competitive. And we see Miz turning up the volume for himself and his team too. 11 has an interesting idea on how they want to play this round, but that pop by on the double tap is going to give themselves away.
Rifles, 3 Guardians, and a Bulldog in Himothy's hands. You could really tell how much they want to try and snowball this round forward into round 3. But Z11, they're undeterred, holding diligently, unmoving. Babe has taken up so much space down mid, pushing all the way to Ramen, but First Love will not allow him to push more than that. And as for Himothy's, taking Babe out this early is huge. Yeah, you only have one more smoke left. You do still have that Omen, but firepower-wise, it's kind of dwindled. Positioned himself in a more aggressive position as Edward and his teammates are just going to trade off each other. Endo aggressive as heck. And these are free guns, guys. These are classics. Kestrel on the side, a tap to the head, and what a thrifty! These are classics and sheriffs against full-blown rifles.
I was getting real nervous when those shots were firing through, and as soon as I saw the Vandal get picked up by Hardora, I was doubting the situation even more. Again, the Guardian could have done its work, but hey, mechanical errors happen all the time. Now him, have to keep it cool, they have to keep it calm, because that should have been the round that helped them stabilize. But if anything, losing that second round is way worse than losing pistol.
It really is. That pistol wanted to cement their lead into round 3, but it felt like they were overzealous. Edward, good opening there onto Killsey. Hardora is waiting. A shot from Miz. Put a number onto Endo. No more shields left to work with, but does get a top up from his teammate. Himothy's forced to wait out. Just deal with the silence one more. Bucky in hand here. Miz still waiting. Crucial. Sprays all around twice, but now good trade. Finds Hardora, gets an upgrade. 6 bullets in the barrel. Endo is close. Positions himself down mid here, but that crouch throws Banaf's crosshair, Ari.
Oh dear me. Z11 and a 3v2. There is a Vandal in the hat of Edward, and I believe there's one more to retrieve if they can find themselves towards mid. This is such a spread out offense. Even though that's the case, they've managed to take control of A. They have a little bit of presence towards heaven. But look how safe Z11 is. They don't want to give them free fights nor free weapons. So this is a price that they're willing to pay. They do hear the spike go down. And it looks like they're going to run through ropes. I don't know about this one.
Massive. Right click to the face. Not enough to take him down, but enough damage. They swing forward. 3 together. Endo. Putting in the numbers, putting in the damage. 1 versus 3. It's almost unfair. Smokes go down here. Edward sees no one. Paranoia out there. Also for him, he can't swing. Yes, he does. Endo will be the next number to fall. Tries to isolate these fights, but Z11, they do their due diligence.
Once again, discipline carries the day. They play for the trades, and him trying to once again steer the ship straight, but these are some tough waters to sail for them. The 11, they do smell the blood in the water. They just have to keep calm and play ahead. Just really happened because of that one fight towards B main. Normally you don't want to force the issue in a closer range where the pistols can do some serious damage, but hey, that's something that will be added to the board later on as Z11 looking to get to double digits first.
This here. Nice little angle played with his teammates. Castro with the cam as well. Hasn't been able to spot anyone quite yet. Endo close, unfortunately for him, will be spotted out by the Trailblazer, and Fontes just walks up and shoots him in the face, and on top of that as well, you get the Seekers? Oh man. Not the outcome you want to have, especially in this mid-round. A flash will just buy some time for them. You'll see just waiting, somehow managing to just peek out, shoot Miz in the face throughout all of that util, and First Love and the rest of Himothy's forced out of B once again. Still waiting for the right time to move. Bass Babe here. Nice angle to play with his teammates. Walks up, finds Edward as he's coming onto the site. Good crosses all around, but not good for one. But firepower and numbers, Z11 wins that, has that in the bag.
What they do, and it is getting troublesome for him here. Weapons still looking very good. Economy looking very good on the side of Z11. Yet another eco round. And them trying to formulate a way to maybe push the defense away from the side that they want to take, or maybe get a lurk threat going. But so far, none of those things have really come into play for them. Yes, they have been spending a lot of time and resources to get this cipher to find maybe a gap on A. At most, they found a plant. Everything else just has not been too kind for the MYSG team here.
Pulling them in.
Here and Bass Babe keeping very safe. He's bold, he pushes, he's flashed, and he will be punished. That's a stinger in hand, and Miz will be happy with that upgrade here. Swings all around, gets him, playing like he's playing in the range. Tap, he goes. Unfortunately for him, he's gonna run out of bullets. Undercut set up here, and leaving the rest to Hardora. What a perfect round for Z11.
My goodness. Killzy really bringing down the hammer here. And I like the first play here, but the fact that they just couldn't get this cross safely, it's just I don't know how to explain it. I mean, it was just so difficult. No weapons, no more flashes to really expand. Not a lot of info that they could play off either. Here we go. Z11 trying to build that snowball bigger and bigger.
There. Time to hunt. Scout
Trailblazer out
destroyed.
early. Enough information already, despite him not able to see anything on the other end.
I've got your trail.
Seekers will be used. He's rushing the side. Kestrel moves in tandem with his teammate, finds Endo. It's perfect. Fontus waiting. Nice pop flash forward. The gravity well as well will catch, and he just make sure that no one will be able to get to the site, leaving Miz all alone. But he's okay with that. He's managing to find Fontus. Gets an upgrade as well, but he's rendered so low. The rest of Z11
Spike
here,
planted.
trying to find these angles, trying to find a single head. However, they can't just dwindle down the numbers. Kestrel playing so far back, trying to make sure that if someone decides to backstab, he can just backstab back. Call it lurkception if you want to. Timing has to be correct. And it might be in his favor here. He pushes out, Kestrel finds him, Bassbait falls, and Killsey left alone in a 1v4. Some time, Kestrel walking up ramps. The entirety of main was his playground.
Such a well-played late round situation there by Kestrel, not only opening it for his team, but also closing. Massive 4Ks to save yet another round for him. The Z11 looks like they're not shaken too much. They only spent one ult, and it was the Seekers, but everything else remains intact. They could very well brute force any defender in any side with both a showstopper and, of course, the contract on the side of Killsey. Cosmic Divide could maybe be expended as well, but they don't necessarily want to shift the balance of the ultimate too far in the favor of him.
Tech pause once again. Second time today, Raf. I think it's a you thing.
To be fair, I don't get that many tech pauses in my cast. And to be fair,
Is it me?
don't we have like the Tash Bunny curse for like the tech pause? Or was it like under specific conditions? Like what was it, you and Quack casting together to cause like a tech pause, or was it an overtime? I can't seem to remember.
The only Tash Bunny curse I know is when I jinx people during watch parties. I'm not aware of the other one though, but we can look.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, we're back in the game. Thank God. I am not gonna stand for any more of this slander Raf casts.
This was not slander. It was a general, like, it was a genuine inquisition. Like, oh,
Wow.
hey. Are there curses abound, madam?
Oh man. Okay, let's look at the alt economy here. 4 for each side. Raf, what do you think?
I think it has to be Himothy to be a bit more, I would say, proactive in using these, because they're the ones that are behind rounds. They have to really try to force the issue somewhere here and maybe get Z11 to respond in a clumsy manner, but so far that's really just not the case. Hardora punishing the tunnel vision of Miz, and Killsey gets one more player here and doesn't even miss on another 1v1.
That's a 100% rate for Killsey on his ultimate. Coming up forward there, I mean, it's a great pick if you think about it. Getting both their duelists this early, entering is gonna be a pain for Himothy's right now. And they decide, okay, let's just walk down A. And Fontus, I think he managed to snatch peek at them as they try to go to the side. Here comes the showstopper straight into Kestrel's face. And Fontus just making sure no one's coming up forward. Edward on sight, but cannot hold on. And even if he did, he still has 3 more bodies to deal with. Z11 on match point and potentially series point.
He actually invested from the shadows for that. That might actually hurt how they can rotate in the next round, but they still have neural theft. And that's the point I kind of wanted to pivot on. If they did get a stray pick with neural theft, they would have the leeway to try and hammer down on the weaker side with less players, but that option is simply just not available for them anymore. Yes, First Love and Miz do have Blade Storm, but these raw entries have not had the highest win rate so far for him, especially in these last 2 rounds. And as I
This
live
is
and breathe,
chaotic. Look at that. 2 pickups already, Z11. 3 even. They just completely decide to oppress them on aiming. There was nowhere they could go. They decided to take that fight. Utils about with the showstopper. Killsey does what he does best here. Paranoia, where are you gonna go here, Edward? You're gonna fall, and just like that, Z11 proved to us